Chicago Bulls fans, welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to sit here and talk about Patrick Williams. How long should the Chicago Bulls give Patrick Williams before they say, get him out of here? And then we're going to dive into the mailbag to answer some of the questions that some of you guys have left for us on today's episode. Y'all know we're going to talk about it and a little bit more. But you got to hit the music first. Cognac, gang. Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another episode of Shy Bulls podcast for me and my co-host C-Dub. If you like what you're listening to today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so every time we drop, you be one of the first ones to know. Now, look, we know the conversation with Patrick Williams is not an easy one to talk about. It definitely is. It's going to be a tug and pull war between two sides. On one side, they like, get him out of here, pack your stuff up, you ain't no good. And then on the other side, on the side that I'm on, I'm like, man, this guy's only 21, just turned 22 years old, 22 years old, and don't give up on him so soon, too early, so we won't have these conversations about the Bulls players who they gave up on too early. You know, we seen Max Strus come out with the Miami Heat and do something. We seen Spencer Dinwiddie come through the pipeline, leave, and go be something decent out there. And we seen Larry Marketing bounce around a little bit and then find himself a home in Utah and flourish and got his career on the right track. Now, when we look at Patrick Williams, we look at the last few seasons. Been in the league about 3 years. He's going into year 4 now. It's been up and down. If we keeping it a buck, if we being honest, it's been up and down for Patrick Williams to go ahead and come out here and do something that we expect him to do. But if we looking at the totality and we taking into context, we got to look at how these things have played out for Patrick Williams. Some of the things are on him for sure. Majority of the things are on him for sure. But a guy that came in with a young team, he quickly saw a drastic change to when the Chicago Bulls picked up Nikola Vucevic. We ain't got the Joker, my bad. Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, and they tried to add on some more veteran pieces around him, which kind of limited his touches and, in my opinion, slowed his progression. Now, I have heard, some of the, guys and supporters of the channel come on and say, hey, Patrick Williams, no matter who's out there, should be a consistent contributor to the roster and to the team. So I agree with that. But when we looking at this young guy, I say we should not give up on him too early. I'm not saying we wait a lifetime. Don't do that. But I will take into account that this guy is 22 years old, still trying to get himself together. He, in my opinion, took a small step forward last season, but we definitely want to see a leap. We need to see that leap, that leap forward to where we could be like, yes, he's one of those cornerstone pieces for the future, whether that be as a starter or a solid role player that you definitely want to keep around the team for the foreseeable future. Now, look, we know that Patrick Williams is coming up on his extension. He's eligible for that extension. I'm not going to come out here and, watch his pockets and say what the Bulls should not do and what they should do with his money, because the money that they throwing at him, it was reported that he is eligible for 5 years and $100 million. 5 years and $100 million. Look, if I'm Patrick Williams, I know this is one of the most important years of my young career. And I have to come out here. I have to unlock that mental, that mental hurdle or that mental limitation. And I got to come out here and perform. Some of the positives that we seen from Patrick Williams, we definitely seen an increase in 3-point shooting. We know he's been consistent on defense. We know that he can get some things done. when it comes to the offense. Because even last year, in the second half of the season, we seen Patrick Williams kind of find his spots a little bit better, and that came with game time reps. And I think that's the biggest thing for him. I think Billy Donovan needs to come out here and provide Patrick Williams with some confidence. Patrick Williams needs to take that confidence and mold that into this beautiful cake that we can go ahead and look at and be like, man, that's a spectacular cake. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you're going on a wedding. You're going to a wedding and you see this immaculate three-layer cake. And you're like, oh my God, that's a beautiful cake. But does it taste good? Is the biggest question. You can have the prettiest cake in the wedding, but if it tastes like crap, it's a crappy cake. So that's what we need to see. We see all these attributes. We see all these, these things that he can potentially become, even having some people go out here and say that Patrick Williams could be the next Kawhi Leonard. I'm not ready to say that. I do see some similarities, but Patrick Williams, you already know what I'm about to say. He has to put it on wax. Real quick, I just want to say the Bulls shouldn't wait to an eternity for Patrick Williams. But looking at some of the players who, that we would all agree that they are better than Zion, better than Patrick Williams right now. But these guys got those contract extensions, and there was still a lot of questions surrounding that. Last two guys that got some money, LaMelo Ball and Zion Williamson. And LaMelo and Zion, respectively speaking, between those two, they've dealt with a lot of injuries. And Ball down in Charlotte has not had much success when it comes to making the playoffs and being in the playoffs and things like that. But we do know he's a spectacular player. Same with Zion Williamson. And I want to look at a few more things too. This is kind of why I'm like, we don't have an eternity, but as long as he takes a step forward this year, I'll be willing to wait. A lot of the players that some people consider either really good players or maybe superstars or maybe just even stars, it took them time to go ahead and mold. And I'm going to name off a few just for you guys. So the first player I like to think about, or that came to my mind, is Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton was in the years before he was in the league for several years before he hit his stride. It wasn't until he was 24 to where he hit that 18 points per game mark. Same. Another guy that a lot of people hold in high regard, Jimmy Butler. It took until he was 25 to get 20 points per game, become an all-star, et cetera, et cetera. Kawhi Leonard. We've seen those early glimpses of the spectacular defense, being within the Spurs system, being within the Spurs culture. And then at 23 and 24, he started to hit his stride. Same thing with Kyle Kuzma. It took him later year. Yes, we knew that he can score on a bad Lakers team, but it took for him to leave the Lakers to really find himself in this NBA. And then the guy that we always talk about is Larry Marketing. He was 25 years old when he went to Utah, and now his career is on the right track. So Patrick Williams is 22 years old. I say give him another year or two. I don't know if the Bulls should go ahead and give him the $100 million, but if you see signs that he's going to take forward, it's something that you will, it's something that you will have to discuss for sure. But enough of me talking. We're going to go ahead and get into these mailbags. But before we get into it, make sure you let me know your thoughts down below. How long should the Chicago Bulls wait for Patrick Williams to get his stuff together? Are you done with it? Or are you going to give him another year, another year or two just to make that decision? Me, I'm going to go ahead and watch this season coming up. And then I would say, hey, he took a step forward this year. If he does well, he took a step forward this year. I'm willing to go ahead and let him continue to grow as a young man and then continue to take those steps forward. But now I want to get into some of these voicemails. This first voicemail is from my guy, R-Dub.
Yo, Cognac family, R-Dub again. I got a quick one with this one, and it's not hate when I ask this. It's a question. It's a real question. But why do people not keep that same energy for Kobe White like they got for Ayo? Like, people was going in on Kobe all before last year. Y'all know it. Everybody was quick to say that he needs to be traded damn near for a bag of J's, sour deal. Not even J's, for some Vintners, tangy triple cheese. Not even some real name brand. But why do they not have that same energy for Kobe like they had for Ayo? When we all know Kobe came up under Boylan. He was balling under Boylan, dropping dubs. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, Billy got in there and it ain't worked out his second year, but I just want to know why we are so quick to forget that part of Kobe's year, like his rookie year. Like, he was dropping 20-something. He wasn't winning, but shit, he was still dropping 20-something. But let me know what y'all think.
All right, that's the voicemail from R Dub. We heard it there. He asking, why has Ayo Dosunmu escaped some of that criticism? And I tell you why, R Dub. It's simple. He's a Chicago kid. He's a Chicago kid. You know, Chicago people, if you ain't from here, we ain't rocking with you that much. We might like you a little bit, but you gotta blow our mind just for us to be on your side. Hence why Zach LaVine gets so much trade him now sayers or things like that, you know what I'm saying, without really thinking that Zach LaVine is definitely one of the best shooting guards, top 5 in my list for sure in this NBA. So when it comes down to Ayo Dosunmu, people are willing to give him a chance because they want to see a Chicago kid play for the city and make it for the city. And it's kind of like their revisionist history when we look at Derrick Rose. Bro, we knew Derrick Rose was not the same player, you know, his last few years compared to when he first came to the Chicago Bulls. He was a totally different player. But guess what? When he was traded to the Knicks for those cheese tangy Vintners chips you was talking about, oh my God, horrible trade, by the way. All of us, we were hurt, bro. So we want to see, we are treating Ayo Dosunmu like this baby that we hold close to the chest. You know what I'm saying? It's like having your firstborn, and your firstborn is a son. For every man, if your firstborn is a son, hell, some even for your daughter, no matter what, your firstborn, you hold that baby tight to you like, man, I really created this. This is my first creation. It feels spectacular. So this is, in our minds, or at least the way I look at it, a lot of people hold Ayo Dosunmu dear to the chest simply because I'm from the south side of Chicago, South Shore area, just to be more specific. And Morgan Park, I worked around there during the summers. So if I'm going past Morgan Park every day, like many other Chicagoans, and they like, damn, Ayo Dosunmu played in this building, we want to see him all grow up. He did escape a little bit of criticism, and Kobe White just not from here. He from North Carolina, bro. And I think it comes down to where both of these players were drafted too. I hope that answer your question and you feel where I'm coming from. For sure. Thanks for calling in, R-Dub. It's always a pleasure, my guy. Next, we move on to my guy Norm B from Matson, Illinois. Y'all already know, South Suburbs stand up. Y'all already know Matson right there by Richton Park. Represent. Shout out to you. But here is the voicemail from Norm.
What's good, fellas? Happy Tuesday. Man, just giving a shout out, watching y'all podcast, man. Man, just real quick, man. I need you guys' feedback on this one. Patrick Williams. Man, you know, I'm watching videos of him in the summertime, putting in work. As usual, you know, looks slimmed down, built some muscle. Is it fair to say that he could give us a good 15-5-5 for the 2024 season, man? What you think? 15-5-5. I mean, is that even doable? I say doable because, you know, Zach, DeMar, Boots, you know that's a big three. But, man, can the boy Patrick Williams give us 15 points, man? I was talking to my cousin the other day. I think he's more of a small forward, man. I don't know. I guess if the Bulls extend DeMar, Patrick Williams will be a 10-point scorer. If they trade DeMar, slide him down to that 3 spot, I think he can give us 20. Man, what y'all think, man? Have a good one.
Norm with the voicemail asking if Patrick Williams can come in and be a 15, 5-5 type player. I think he can be, but that ending of your voicemail, that's what will have to happen. DeMar DeRozan has to move out the way. Patrick Williams moves to that 3 spot, and then we can see what else he can do. Because I think since the guy played point guard or has some guard duty back up in high school, he still has some of those traits that he can bring to the team. But I don't think DeMar DeRozan is going anywhere this season unless the start of the season is absolutely horrible. But I do think with Patrick Williams playing the 4, he is capable. I don't like it 100%, but he's definitely capable. I would say that Billy Donovan needs to get him more involved in the offense instead of putting him off at the 3-point line. That right there will get him more rebounds, in my opinion. And I think he also needs to be more aggressive. My expectation with him scoring 10 points this past season, give me 12 to 14 points in that 4 spot. And then get me 3 more rebounds because he gave you 10 and 4. You know what I'm saying? With his size, his strength, his power, he should not have 4 rebounds. He needs to be more aggressive and get his behind in that painted area. I know 15 and 5. I think that's doable, but somebody got to take a step back. I don't expect the core to take a step back. So give me 12 and 7 is what I'm asking for. Give me another bucket and then give me 3 more rebounds that are more impactful than what Patrick Williams displayed this past season. Hopes that answer your question, my guy. Now, we move on to my last voicemail of the day. This comes from my highly spoken, highly intelligent guy, Big O. You know, when Big O come to speak, he's speaking. Here's the voicemail from Big O.
Word, Cognac Boys, Big O, man. Hey, man, you ain't wrong about, I like your Christmas Day game, man. I was sitting there thinking about it as you was listening to your video and you was, giving your opinion on it. Man, them ain't bad at all. I was actually thinking that, I wouldn't have mind seeing the Heat rematch with the Nuggets, but only if the NBA know that they ain't going there. So if you put if they know they ain't going to eventually end up on the Heat, which is what we all expect, then I wouldn't mind seeing the Heat versus the Nuggets today. Seeing that rematch with their upgraded point guard. I would love to see that. I would have also loved to see Phoenix versus the Bucks. Phoenix versus the Bucks or Phoenix versus Boston. Because I think that them are like a potential East versus West Flames. You know what I'm saying? That would have been that preview for that. The Denver Heat would have been like the last year rematch. I definitely love your Philly versus Denver as well. I thought that would have been crazy. I wouldn't have mind, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have mind seeing the Scoop versus Wembanyama on Christmas Day. I mean, two not, crazy things. Or Scoop versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I wouldn't have mind seeing that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's a few different things I felt they could have dealt with it that would have made it, a little bit more interesting. If the Bulls wanted to be on Christmas Day, go trade for Day. Go trade for Day. You want to be excited? Then go out there and go get a guy that's gonna make this shit exciting. Goddammit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody looking at the Bulls saying, "Oh yeah, we can't wait to see them on Christmas Day." I mean, none but the Bulls are up. You know what I'm saying? But national, that's a national televised game. Who outside of Chicago Bulls fans excited to see them play anybody? Like, you know what I mean? They'd have to give us the Detroit Pistons. Ain't nobody want to see that. So yeah, you're right, man. Bulls gotta get it together, man. Management. They wanna. They talk the talk. They gotta walk it. You know what I'm saying? Walk it like I talk. You know what I'm saying? They better listen to that Migos, man. Get in line. But yeah, great great show, Bobby. Y'all definitely thought they could have did a few things a little bit better. Yeah, I'm be tuning in, bro. Go Bulls. Let's get it.
All right, so that's the voicemail from Big O, giving comments and throwing out his Christmas Day games that he thought would be very intriguing, and also saying if the Bulls want to be on Christmas Day playing basketball, they got to make things more exciting. And I'm with you on that, brother. They definitely got to make this team more exciting. They definitely got to have some battles, or have at least a battle in the playoffs that is intense and whatnot. Because if we looking at the history, think about Joakim Noah triple overtime against the Boston Celtics. That whole entire series was nothing but intensity. Spectacular basketball on both sides for both teams, and you didn't know what the hell was going to happen. So storyline, boom, you can plug that right in on Christmas Day. Or later down the line, Chicago Bulls versus Miami Heat during the season, going at it. Young MVP Derrick Rose going against Miami in the Heatles, doing this, doing that. Spectacular series in the Eastern Conference second round and in the ECF. Those years, you can plug something like that into Christmas Day lineup. That's exactly what the Chicago Bulls are missing. Now, let's just say, for the sake of argument, the one time we did go to the playoffs within the last few years, that the Chicago Bulls pushed the Milwaukee Bucks to 7 games at least. Even if they lost, just imagine if they would have pushed the Bucks to 7 games and it came down to the last few possessions of game 7. And it was just a lot of conversation after the game if the Bulls lost. A lot of conversation. Look how Zach LaVine exploded. Look at DeMar DeRozan, how he was able to get him game 2 and Zach LaVine finally stepped up. Think about how Patrick Williams guarded Giannis Antetokounmpo. That could have been something you slid into Christmas Day. But there's a lack of conversation when it comes to the Chicago Bulls right now, for a lack of a better term. And if you miss some of the games that I threw out there for Christmas Day, because I believe the NBA got it all wrong, I'm going to list off those games and then we're going to get up out of here. Some of those games that I thought should have been put out there is the Bucks versus the Heat. I think that would have been solid. The Lakers versus the Sun. KD, LeBron James, old men going at it. Come on, man. Then on the Warriors versus the Kings after the last playoff series this past season that they had. Let's see it on Christmas Day again. Celtics versus Memphis. Marcus Smart returns to the Garden. Come on. That would have been lit. And then to round it off, the battle of the best 2 centers in the NBA, Joel Embiid versus the Joker, the number 1 versus the number 2, the last 3 MVPs. Come on, y'all. Would have been bussing. But the NBA got it all wrong. But that's it from us today, man. Appreciate all the gentlemen that went out, made the phone call, and gave your thoughts on the state of the Chicago Bulls. So if you want to be a part of anything like this, a mailbag episode, call in at 773-242-9219. And make sure before you go, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Y'all see that Bears merch? It's game day. We're going to get right into it. I hope to see y'all on the next one for sure. Cognac. Gang.